So this is video number 2. Obviously, if you watch this first, go back to watch the first one. We ended with this. All right, so turning point. So when Japan invaded China in 1937, you have obviously the atrocities and things we talked about in class yesterday, the rape of Nanking, some of the awful things that the Japanese did. There were acts of genocide in China. Again, in total, you're talking about millions of people die in China from Japanese atrocities. Also, the Japanese is going to attack the USS Panay, which was a U.S. ship, an oil tanker. So they're now attacking U.S. property. Again, FDR was deeply disturbed by these actions by the Japanese, on how they're using imperial tactics. They're attacking other lands. Again, think about, as I said before, FDR was not an isolationist, but this was a turning point because slowly but surely, more politicians started taking notice about what was going on, obviously in Europe, but also with Japan. So FDR gave this speech called the Quarantine Speech, which basically is going to urge Congress to begin helping peaceful countries deal with aggressive nations. So deal with China, who's a peaceful nation, deal with all these countries in Europe that are being attacked by aggressive nations. He's basically shooting out a warning sign that, hey, we need to start paying attention to this. And then also, we talked about this, was also in your guys' reading. Also, what's going to happen is Germany and Hitler is going to sign an agreement with Stalin called the Non-Aggression Pact, where basically Hitler, Germany, and Soviet Union are going to agree to not fight each other, basically have a truce, essentially, which is kind of weird. Both countries hated each other, but they both agreed that they would attack Poland. Soviet Union would attack from the east. Germany would attack Poland from the west. And basically what they're doing is they're reclaiming land that was lost to them at the beginning of World War I. So they both got something out of it, but also Hitler, by doing this, he's going to avoid a two-front war. He could focus on all of Europe first, and not have to worry about have two fronts, not have to worry about the Soviet Union. So this was a win-win situation for Hitler. Finally, so now after the FDR quarantine speech, momentum's going to begin with policymakers, as I told you before. So congressmen and women are going to begin saying, hey, we need to start paying attention to what's going on over in Japan, what's going on in Europe. So not all, but slowly but surely starts kind of shifting a little bit, where more and more people start noticing, but also FDR starts getting a little bit of what he wants. We start prepping militarily for war. So in 1938, we start building naval ships again. We start building up our arsenal. We start using them and selling them to European nations who want them to help defend them. And then finally, in 1939, Germany is going to invade Poland, which will eventually start World War II. And that's when we start updating our neutrality laws, which will start right here. So now the war started. Now all those neutrality laws that we passed in 1935, 36, 37 before the war, now we need to update them. So in response to the German invasion of Poland, FDR is going to persuade Congress that we need to start providing aid to European democracies in a very limited way. We need to start having the ability to sell weapons to European democracies on a cash carry basis. So again, cash carry, it is what it sounds like. They pay cash and they pick it up on their own ships. So that way American personnel and American ships aren't going to be going into a war zone. So they pay cash, they come to America, they pick it up, hence called cash carry. So the purpose of this was to help our allies, to hopefully slow down Hitler. However, this unfortunately did not do enough. Some of these allied nations needed more supplies that we just could not give. So results of the 39 Neutrality Act: aggressors could not send ships to buy U.S. munitions. So we were only selling to one side. And as a result, too, the economy is going to improve because European countries start buying American products again. So this will slowly start taking us out of the Great Depression. And America becomes known as the arsenal of democracy, where we start defending other democracies around the world. Okay, so that is going to be it for today. Now, hey, make sure this is copied down. There's an exit ticket in Google Classroom for you. I think it's called exit ticket number 1, so fill that out. And then afterwards, if you're done with all those things and you have more time, you can start working on your workbooks. I'll extend chapter 22 will be due on Monday. 23 is due next week. I probably will be checking in on Go Guardian, so please make sure you're doing what you need to be doing. Again, cell phone should be in the pouch too. All right, adios.